Well, it's the weekend, and whenever it becomes the weekend, it becomes Michael Snyder's end. Hello, Michael.
My end is just fine, thank you. Wow, I feel good. It's the autumn. It's my favorite time of year. Baseball's in the air. I know where you are, the glorious physical beauty. I know how great it is when the leaves turn and the trees are aflame in Central Park. No, wait. That's the homeless people setting fire to the trees. I'm ready to roll here with some new films, and some of the films are definitely worth your attention, and some, you should probably run away from screaming. Let's start with Fury. This is a brutal, tense, and very effective war movie that gets into the claustrophobic grime and gore of tank warfare in Europe as the Allies made their way into the heart of Germany in 1945. They were winning, but they had to close the deal. Anyway, there's desperation on the Nazi side, callousness and the survival instincts at the fore for the American tank crew and their battalion, and top shelf performances from all the actors involved, particularly star Brad Pitt as the Sherman tank commander War Daddy, which actually sounds like some kind of video game, but in fact, that's the guy's name. There is a fine-tuned and believable Shia LaBeouf in a role here in the tank, and he's probably at his most mature. I've never thought he was better as a grown man, because he seemed so much a boyish, idiot for so long now. So that was very pleasant. And as a greenie assigned to the tank with no tank training, Logan Lerman of the lame Percy Jackson films is very good in this thing. The Walking Dead's John Bernthal, terrific. He's sort of a hick from the sticks with a big attitude. Michael Pena, who was good in Frontera, is just as good here. And the moral is war is hell, even when we're winning. Written and directed by David Ayer, who wrote Training Day and The Fast and the Furious, and wrote and directed a great cop drama called End of Watch that fell through the cracks. And even though he did the recent ridiculous Schwarzenegger combat action film, Sabotage, I'm not going to hold it against him. Fury is very good of kind. Let's put it that way. Moving on to Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. I've been looking forward to this film. I was not disappointed. This is going to be on a lot of people's minds come award season. It's this meta-fantastic take on the struggles of a once successful movie star whose fame is primarily due to his portraying a superhero. So he quits the role, loses his way professionally and personally, and tries to do a comeback on the Broadway stage as a serious actor in a serious play. And the burden of celebrity dogs him, and he's trying to mount the play, and his family life and career are tumbling into chaos. And Michael Keaton is totally in his element as the star of this darkly comic tale. And it gets very funny and very harsh and a little creepy. And Mexican director Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, who has made some amazing films, including 21 Grams and Babel, directs a cast that includes Naomi Watts.
Don't forget Children of Men. Come on.
Well, you're right. That's another wonderful film. This guy has a great sensibility about him. The projects he chooses are really wonderful, and he delivers, and he gets great casts. Naomi Watts is an actress in this thing who has dreams of scoring the female lead in a Broadway play, and now they're going to be possibly dashed by her co-star, Keaton's character, who is so unstable. The meta text here, because of Michael Keaton's career, the guy was Batman. He had been Beetlejuice. He had a wonderful career as a comic actor, and he sort of went off the rails himself. He decided to pull back for whatever reason, and this movie is a wonderful kind of reflection of his own career, kind of distorted reflection, and obviously heightened comedy and drama, but it really worked. Zach Galifianakis is in this thing. Edward Norton is the hotshot rival actor brought in to shore up the cast and interest in the play, but he turns out to be a loose cannon. Emma Stone, really good work as Keaton's character's snarky daughter, and Amy Ryan as his alienated but still caring wife. Boy, oh boy, Birdman really did it for me. If I gave a thumbs up to anything, I'd give a very big one to Birdman. The Book of Life is one of the most gorgeous and fanciful animated movies in my memory, and certainly one of the best of the year so far, along with Lego Movie and The Box Trolls. And it's produced by Inarritu's companion, pal, buddy, Guillermo del Toro, who most recently directed Pacific Rim and did Pan's Labyrinth and so many wonderful films. He's a master of spectacular widescreen imagery, and this movie depicts the incredible and sometimes scary escapades of a young man who has to travel between the living and the dead. And it's partially inspired by the Latin American Day of the Dead celebration, but it's rich and entertaining. And unlike some films, it doesn't have ridiculous topical references. And among the actors who contribute, Channing Tatum, Zoe Saldana, Diego Luna, Christina Applegate, Ice Cube, and Cheech Marin, and also Eugenio Derbez, who's basically the Jim Carrey of Mexico. Really wonderful voice work from all of them, but visual splendor. The idea that the characters, as living initially, look like wooden puppets, and then when they're dead, they're like the skeletons of, or a little the element of the skeletons of the Day of the Dead figurines. That's wonderful. It's a beautiful film. The Book of Life, really, really, really give it a big recommendation. Family movie that's worth seeing by any stretch of the imagination. Okie dokie, let's wrap up quickly with Listen Up, Philip, which is all about a pissed off, self-destructive writer on the precipice of success who lets all of his neuroses undermine his day-to-day life, mess up his career, and screw his relationship. The character is played by Jason Schwartzman, and he is dead on. Again, terrific casting. One of this guy's idols, a famous aging author, invites him to get away from the hustle and the roar of New York and retreat to a remote summer home that the literary lion owns. And this leads to an uneasy lateral move into academia and more misery for this self-loathing schmuck. This is really smart and kind of mordantly funny. And in addition to Schwartzman as the young, up-and-coming a-hole novelist, Elizabeth Moss from Mad Men is his girlfriend, a photographer. Jonathan Pryce, star of one of my favorite films of all time, Brazil, plays a kind of Norman Mailer figure. And Kristen Ritter is the elderly Maverick's disaffected daughter. Good stuff from writer-director Alex Ross Perry, who seems to be boiling up an amalgam of Woody Allen and John Cassavetes during their 70s and 80s work. I thought Listen Up, Philip is something that's going to be good on video, and maybe it's a bit of a niche thing. It's kind of dark and funny. Not a lot of money spent on it, but it pays big dividends if you see it. Now the big clinker, The Best of Me, the latest adaptation of a bestseller by the leaden romance novelist Nicholas Sparks, is as bad as most of the rest of them, which include Nights in Rodanthe, Dear John, The Last Song, The Lucky One, Safe Haven, all movies that kind of were horrible treacle and kind of turned my stomach. Even in their attempt to woo, I guess, I don't know, middle-aged women that used to read Harlequin romances.
You forgot The Notebook.
Ah, for a reason. Anyway, in this one, former high school sweethearts are reunited after 20 years when they return to their small town for the funeral of a friend and mentor. The grown-up versions of the characters are played by James Marsden and Michelle Monaghan. Okay, I like them. Maybe you have me. Then there are the flashbacks to the couple as star-crossed like teenage lovers in the genteel or reactionary and ignorant South, trying to transcend their class differences and obstacles put forth by unfeeling or like willfully destructive family members. You know, there's yahoos involved that are going to ruin their lives. Anyway, the younger versions of the lovers are played by young actors who look nothing like their counterparts. And I won't say their names because I don't want to embarrass them. There's a crucial turning point in their lives, and the plot gets more bogus and overheated than many of the previous Sparks efforts. I mean, one twist in the story is so heavy-handed and ridiculous that I was thinking, hey, no way they'll do this, and whoops, there it is. The inevitable climactic tragedies in these things are so over the top, you kind of want to laugh, but if you're in a theater, there's usually someone crying next to you, so you got to keep it under your hat.
You got to say one thing for Sparks.
Yeah.
He's making a living and we're not. So,
Hey, look, The Notebook didn't feel like one of these unbelievably corny, insincere melodramas.
Actually, I liked that film. That was a pretty good film.
That's why I saved it. I actually like The Notebook. Thank you. That thing worked. terrific performances there, and a story that didn't seem outlandish. And when bad things happened in the Notebook, you don't go like, "Oh, are you joking? Come on, that's like a meteor hitting the boyfriend while he's about to propose."
Yeah,
I mean, that's how ridiculous these get. Anyway, this was an eye roller of the highest or lowest order. Let's turn to television. What have you been watching with the new season?
Nothing.
Come on,
Well, I mean, I'm watching stuff, but I've mentioned it before. I mean, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I like the Arrow. I like the guy that rushes around a lot.
He's called the Flash.
I like, but that's all comic book stuff. I also, I don't know what else I'm really liking all that much because the strain is gone.
A series you nudged me toward, I finished watching it, and I loved it, and I'm happy it's being renewed, and that's Manhattan, the movie about
Manhattan.
The show about.
Yeah.
I really like that big time. It's the program about the Manhattan Project in the 40s as America is racing to build a bomb, and in New Mexico, families and scientists and various other types.
It's kind of Mad Men with a nuclear device.
Yeah, thank you. And it doesn't blow. I mean,
not at all. Not at all.
So I'm happy it's going to come back, I guess, in a year's time. One of my friends is furious when the short run series ends and says, "Wait, what about next week? Is that it? Come on!" And speaking of next week,
well, no, this is the way they do it in England. They don't do the only place that is insane enough to run 22 episodes a year is the United States.
Which means it's a big investment of time. If you decide you don't like it, maybe you lose the thread. You go back to it. It's rare when a show, by the way, gets better as it goes along. And I saw the premiere of the most recent series of The Walking Dead, and it was great. I'm
getting tired of all those heads getting chopped off. I actually like Z Nation or Nation Z Nation. Better.
Z-Nation?
If I'm going to have a zombie show, I'll take that one over Walking Dead.
I like Z Walking Dead. I'm invested in the characters, and boy, oh boy, I don't mind seeing lots of zombies slaughtered.
Yeah.
But I do. I'm caught up in the characters, and it was a very kind of
but Z Nation chops off a lot of zombie heads too, but has a sense of humor about it that Walking Dead just doesn't seem to have. Walking Dead is just terribly grim.
I know, I love it. The first episode of the new series actually had some measure of uplift by the end of it, but I know things are going to get worse. I'm hanging in there, though. I am.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. You can follow me on Twitter at Culture Blaster, or check into my page, Michael Snyder's Culture Blast on Facebook, and like it. Click onto the links to me and Alex jabbering away and other things, including some print stuff. And like I said a little bit ago, I'll be back next week. I'll be returning.
That's a threat.
Yeah,
anyway,
I know.
We'll see you next week, Michael.
Okay.
Have a good week.
Thanks.